Welcome to REST Indica Mind Maps. We are a repository of around 1000 plus mind maps, which is going to make your UPSC preparation a cakewalk. You can avail these benefits by downloading our app and enrolling at a nominal fees of Rs 199. The link of our app and the Telegram group has been given in the description below. Today, we are going to see the topic Indian Investigative Agencies. And this is the topic of GS paper part 2. Why are we studying this? Because recently, Chief Justice of India has given a call for the creation of an independent umbrella institution. Why? To bring together all the investigative agency under a single umbrella. As of now, what we see is that one and more investigative agencies, they are doing similar kind of work. This leads to duplication of efforts. And India being a developing nation, we already have scarcity of resources. So what is the point of two or more institutions doing the same work? For streamlining this particular procedure, CGI has given us this idea. So one by one, we are going to see many investigative agencies, the problem they face, and how can we solve them. The first piece of legislation is, or the institution is, Central Bureau of Investigation. This is the organization, if I might say, which each and every one of you must be knowing. Okay, so let us see some factoids related to each. This was established in 1963 as a nodal police agency. Okay, and this was established on the recommendation of Santhanam Committee. If I may jog your memory cells, you must be knowing that this is the same committee which gave the recommendation for the formation of Central Vigilance Commission, or CVC. Okay, so if someone asks you that CVC was formed on the recommendation of which committee? Santhanam Committee. CBI was formed on the recommendation of which committee? Again, Santhanam Committee. Okay, so if it is an institution or rather an investigative agency, then under which ministry does it comes? See, people have a general notion that any kind of investigative agency will come under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, but this is not always the case. Therefore, in such dilemmatic kind of institution, you need to see the ministry under which it comes. So the ministry is Ministry of Personnel, Pension and Public Grievances. Okay. After this, if I ask you that what is the legal piece, what is the legal notion or the piece of legislation with which CBI draws its power from, then that is DSPE Act. Its full form is Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay. Okay. So again, let me recapitulate. CBI was formed in 1963 as a nodal police agency on the recommendation of the Santhanam Committee. Clear up till here? It is under the Ministry of Personnel and it draws its powers from DSPE Act of 1946. Simple. See, if you just remember these things, now any question on CBI, you will be able to solve it. No issues whatsoever. Now look, aim. Okay, you must be knowing about the aims, but you will appreciate some of the aims which you must not be knowing. First of all, this is used to fight cyber crimes. This is of a recent origin, because in 1963 when it was formed, we did not had computers also, let alone cyber crimes. Yes, combat corruption in public offices generally, and so this is also the anti-corruption unit of Government of India. Okay, this is also used to curb economic crimes. CBI has a separate department which correlates to economic crimes, and it assists Lokpal and CVC. See, you must be knowing that Lokpal does not have a separate investigative agency. So whenever Lokpal needs to investigate any charges, it takes the help of CBI. Okay. Some more factoids. This is not a constitutional body. Yes, very true. Because these provision is not mentioned in the Constitution of India. Neither is it a statutory body. See, it derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay. There is no piece of legislation which talks about creation of CBI. Whenever we call a body as a statutory body, say for example, National Commission on Backward Classes, it was earlier a statutory body. Why? Because a law was introduced in the parliament which specifically asked for the creation of this body, and later we gave it the constitutional status by including it in the constitution. But similar is not the case with CBI. Okay, remember. Again, see, the main person which looks after the activities is the director. Now, how is he appointed? See, first of all, under the Lokpal Act of 2015, it is said that he has to be appointed by a committee of Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, and opposition leader of Lok Sabha. Okay, opposition leader of Lok Sabha. Now you tell me that if there is no leader of opposition, then we also have the provision of including the person with the second largest majority in the house. Okay. Generally, he holds up the office for 2 years, but it can be extended to 5 years. This is in brief about the Central Bureau of Investigation. Next, we talk about the Enforcement Directorate. Okay, this is also very important. You must be knowing that in today's parlance, this CBI and ED are the only body which we hear a lot. Okay, let us not go into the political debate. We are here to clear the examination and on academic excellence. So let us stick ourselves to this discussion only. Enforcement Directorate. See again, we will see when it was established. It was established in 1956, headquartered at New Delhi. The ministry under which it functions is Ministry of Finance. And under the Ministry of Finance, this is under the Revenue Department. Clear? That was the Ministry of Personnel, CBI. This is Ministry of Finance. Now, what does ED does? What ED does is that it enforces the FEMA Act. Enforces the FEMA Act of 1999 and the Money Laundering Act of 2002. So these are two pieces of legislation which it sees, which enforces, or in simple, if I can say, this looks at any violation of these laws. Any violation of these laws. Which are the laws? The FEMA Act of 1999 and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act of 2010. Okay, clear? Chaliye. Next, let us come here. NIA, National Investigative Agency. First of all, this is governed by NIA Act of 2008. Now, let me give you an interesting feature. Not interesting per se, but yes. Do you see the date over here, 2008? Can you relate that what catastrophic event took place in 2008? It was the Taj attack or the 26/11 attack. This was after the attack of 26/11 that a separate institution which used to counter terrorism, So if I ask you that what is the only aim of NIA, this is countering terrorism. Why? Because this was established in the backdrop of 26/11 attack. Getting the point? Under which ministry? Under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay. So here we have talked about some basic investigative agencies. Now let us see. What are the one more? Let us see one more. That is a Serious Fraud Investigation Office. Again, same thing. Headquarter New Delhi. Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Why? Because this look after the corporate frauds. Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It was made statutory in 2013 under the Companies Act. Earlier, it was not a statutory body. It was made statutory under the Companies Act. That consists of some experts. These experts belong to the field of accountancy, law, investigation, and forensic auditing. And what are the aims and objective? These aims and objective are to see if the Companies Act is being violated and some white collar crimes. Okay, white collar crimes mean crime in the corporate and all those things. So these are the 4 investigative agencies which we have seen. Now we will see some problems and what are the reforms which are needed. Now the problems are, first of all, these multiple agencies, this leads to a plethora of problems. Those problems are, first of all, overlapping of powers. It is very difficult to say that what is the jurisdictional domain. As you can see over here, CBI is used for curbing economic crimes. Similarly, Enforcement Directorate is also being used for similar purpose. So overlapping of powers. Evidence dilution. How evidence dilution? In 2 ways. First of all, what happens is that whenever a crime is committed, the investigative agencies fight among themselves. That we are going to look over the case, and in meanwhile, in due time, the evidence gets tampered. Okay. Second, when multiple agencies ask for evidence which means that multiple agency does investigation and evidence exchanges hands a lot of time. In this way also evidence also gets diluted, and also prolonged custody of the innocent. Say for example, if there has been a fraud done and CBI goes and arrests that person. Later it comes to know that this comes under the jurisdictional domain of Enforcement Directorate. Again, a kind of tussle is being going on. So what happens is that the person who has been accused of such misdemeanor, he is kept in the custody. So there is prolonged custody for the innocent. Again, see, what happens is that, first of all, general consent, when withdrawn by states, it affects CBI works. You all must be knowing that CBI has got the jurisdiction only over what center asks it to. If Supreme Court has told, High Court has told, or state gives general assent that yes, whenever you want to investigate any matter in our jurisdiction, no need to ask, you can come and investigate. So whenever general consent is withdrawn, it affects the work. Okay. Moreover, in these investigative agency, we have inadequate manpower. So what we should try to do is that we should try to create a kind of synchronization between them. That limited manpower is used in the specific domain for which the institution has been created. We also see that the credibility of these institutions are also being questioned. More so over in the recent day, Supreme Court has also remarked that it is very hard to accept wholeheartedly CBI investigation because these are used as political tools. I won't name any party or anything, but what we see is that the CBI, they have been used as political tools for many years now. So their credibility is falling. We also find many instances of corruption. We see the nexus with the politician because moreover, the director is appointed with the consent of the government only. So he tries to toe the line. Many a times what he does, that he tries to be in the good books of the politician so that no punishment posting is given, no transfer is being done, and all those things. Moreover, the opaqueness with which these institutions now work is really very astonishing. They also have lack of autonomy, and lack of autonomy both in financial and in functional terms, because government continuously meddles in their efforts. And last but not the least is that this might affect federalism, because all these investigative agency which we're talking about, these comes under the jurisdiction of the union government, but may go for inspection in the state government. So these many a times what it does now, it tries to hinder federalism. Some reforms, first reform is that we need to have an umbrella organization that will share intelligence and resources. For example, that umbrella organization will tell, you see, this is your domain, this is your domain, first of all. Moreover, for example, say for example, if CBI, ED, they all come under one umbrella organization, some input, some intelligence has been conveyed to that umbrella organization, then that umbrella organization can divulge that piece of information to the respective agencies. This may also help in better interagency coordination. Moreover, there can be regular upgradation of technology to deal with challenges. If there will be one umbrella organization, then there shall be periodic performance audit. And after that, we can also have mid-career training. Okay, mid-career training can be done because after the evaluation only we will come to know that what is the situation. So we can go for mid-career training. Okay. Moreover, the autonomy can be improved upon. Okay. We can also work on improving the women's participation and improving the credibility, because that umbrella organization, what it will do is that the major point here is evaluation. And when evaluation is done, all the lacunas can be solved with. So this is something which I have discussed over here. Now, what we actually need is that, first of all, we need to do proper training, proper performance appraisal, and incentive for good work. If these three things are done, then in the long run, these institutions will gain their credibility and their transparency, which they had earlier vouched for. Okay, thank you very much for watching the lecture.